Hey guys, Lancer here. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for joining me while we review some reserve list cards and rank them out of 40, with power, value, art, and fun as the deciding factors. And please let me know in the comments if there's anything that I missed and if they should be valued higher or lower. Let's begin. So, first card, Balm of Restoration. Total 15 out of 40. The Balm of Restoration is 2 mana, artifact, pay 1, tap, sacrifice Balm of Restoration to gain 2 life or prevent up to 2 damage to any player or creature. I like the power, I don't like the power, it's not very strong. The value, it is peaking, but I don't think it's a very valuable card, but you can let me know. The fun, pretty boring. Art looks kind of cool. Looks like she's trying to get something out of this urn in the way. It's a cool art, but other than that, I don't think there's any value to this card. Moving on. Barreling Attack. Total 22 out of 40. That's actually quite high. Barreling Attack is 2 colorless, 2 red. Instant. Target creature gains trample until end of turn. That creature gets +1/+1, +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature that blocks it. I like this card for a couple of reasons. One of them is Sunforger can get it. Another is the fact that trample is something that red does not have anymore. Makes it quite unique. Another one is that if you put on a big creature and gets blocked by 2 or 3 creatures, you're going to get 3 +1/+1 counters on it. All of this put together actually makes it a very fun build around card. Sunforger itself, if you can get Sunforger out and then you have this in the back pocket, you can have a pretty strong Voltron commander that just breaks through with a trample when it's just red and white. Very, very interesting. I know a lot of artifacts already come with trample. I like the idea of Sunforger being able to push something out as well. I like my Sunforger. Moving on. Beastwalker, total 9 out of 40. Boring card. Beastwalker is 1 colorless, 2 white. Pay 1 green, banding until end of turn, it's a 2/2. Terrible. I find it very boring. Power level is 1. Value is 4 only because it's very cheap as it is right now. But it's probably not a valuable card in any meaningful way. Art, boring. Fun, boring. We can move right past this one. Benthic Gin, total 14 out of 40. Benthic Gin is 2 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black. Summon Gin, Island Walk. During upkeep, lose 2 life. It's a 5/3. I actually think the power is pretty good. I feel like, sadly, I was trying to put this together yesterday, so there's no doubt that it's probably actually above $3 now, and it was spiking pretty hard in the last couple of days. Crazy. The value has actually dropped because when I was reviewing it, it didn't seem valuable as it was just a couple of days ago. Art, pretty interesting. Fun. It's more fun than some other reserve list cards I've seen, so it's not too bad. I think the value is the fact that it's a 5/3 in the colors that normally don't have a big attack body. Then again, this is reserve list cards. It's pretty good for a reserve list card. Yeah, not much else to say about it. Moving along. Ah, yes, the art that I actually called out without even realizing it. Black Carriage, total 21 out of 40. It's a 3 colorless, 2 black. Summon Carriage. Trample does not untap during your untaps phase. Pay 0, sacrifice a creature to untap Black Carriage. Use this ability only during upkeep. But there is no limit to how often you use this. It's a free sack outlet. 5 mana for a 4/4. Not that impressive, but I think it's a cool build run. Power level 3 because of the build run. Value 4. It's starting to spike. It might have gone up even more in the last day. Art, I think the black and the gold really come out in this picture. This is on my list just for the art. Fun, like I said, it's a free sack outlet. It's an expensive one, but I always like sack outlets. And, just because of the fact that it's in homeland and reserved, makes it a bit more of a fancy one. Moving on. Blizzard, total 15 out of 40. 2 green, enchantment. Cumulative upkeep, pay 2. You cannot cast Blizzard if you control no snow-covered lands. Creatures with flying do not untap during their controller's untap phase. Power level is 4. It's actually not that bad. It's in green, which means you can pay the mana into it. Creatures with flying do not untap. Green's biggest problem is actually creatures with flying. White's, that is actually a weakness for it. White has some angels. They can fly over it and beat green quite a few turns before green can get something out. So I think this is actually a pretty powerful card. The fact that it says stop attacking, and as long as you can bring back enchantments, this might actually not be too bad in like a Muldrotha deck where you don't actually care If it dies each turn, you just every turn you pay 2 to get it onto the field, and then make sure that while it goes around, it just doesn't get, you don't get attacked by flying creatures. Interesting card. We'll have to see what you can make out of it. Let me know in the comments. Power level is 4, value 3, art 5, and fun 3. Maybe it's on a bit of a low side. I could have bumped it out a bit now that I think about Muldrotha. Moving on. Bodyguard Phoenix. Total 15 out of 40. It is 2 colorless, 3 red. Summon Phoenix. Flying. If Bodyguard Phoenix is put into any graveyard from play and has no death counters on it, return it to play and put a death counter on it. If Bodyguard Phoenix is put into any graveyard from play and has death counter on it, remove it from the game. I like this. It's kind of like Unearth. Oh no, it's the one which comes back to the +1/+1 counter, but this one doesn't. Anyway, power level 3, value 3, art 5, fun 4. You can make something out of this. I like it because it's in red, which obviously Phoenix can always come back. The fact that it's a Phoenix also makes it better in my eyes, because Phoenix support has to come at some time. There's quite a few Phoenix already out there. And it is starting to move up, by the way. So the value is going to continue dropping if it keeps doing that. Moving on. Brushwag, hilarious art. Total 15 out of 40. Brushwag is 1 colorless, 2 green. If Brushwag blocks or is blocked, it gets -2/+2 until end of turn. The flavor text is quite funny, but I sadly think that Brushwag actually did not make it in that experiment. So the flavor text is defiantly the young Cyclops popped the Brushwag into his mouth. His cheeks suddenly puffed, his eyes bulged, and he was forced to agree with his elders. Don't eat one of these, I assume, is the tail, but power levels 2 is pretty boring. It's not exactly a powerful card. Value is 3, but it's trying to spike as everything else is. Art's fun. I put 7, but I think it's fun. And the fun factor is actually not that fun. It's just a boring card. Moving on. Call to Arms, that beard. Total 11 out of 40. Call to Arms is 1 colorless, 1 white. Choose a color as long as target opponent controls more cards of that color than any other color, or white creatures get +1/+1. If at any time that opponent does not control more cards of that color than any other color, bury Call to Arms. Confusing card. I rated 1 for power. Values 2. Art 7 because of beard. Fun 1. It's just a complicated card and probably not needed in a game. Moving on. Canopy Dragon. Total 15 out of 40. Canopy Dragon is 4 colorless, 2 green, trample, 1 colorless, 1 white, 1 green, flying. It gains flying and loses trample until end of turn. This is boring. I like the art, but it's a boring card. So I've given it power level 3, value 3 because it's starting to spike. Art 7, fun 2. It's from Mirage. Next is Chaos Harlequin. Total 12 out of 40. Alliance. Chaos Harlequin is 2 colorless, 2 red. It is a page red. Remove the top card of your library from the game. If that card is a land, Chaos Harlequin gets -4, -0 until end of turn. Otherwise, he gets +2, +0 until end of turn. I think this is kind of unfortunate because it removes the card from the game. It doesn't like put it into your graveyard or something more useful. It just exiles it from the game, which is really annoying. Power level 2, value 2, art is 5 because it looks kind of cool. And fun is 3. I guess the only thing that can help you do is filter your deck at the very end. Or maybe thin it out faster. It doesn't actually help filter, does it? Moving on. Wood Elemental. Yes, this probably shouldn't even be 16. I think I put it 16 because I was thinking of cool stuff. But its value should be negative because it's peaking above $100 right now. It's stupid. I think it's probably a meme card at this point. Wood Elemental, 3 colorless, 1 green, summon Elemental. Bonus points. Star in the lower right hand corner is set to the number of untapped forests you sacrifice when Wood Elemental is brought into play. Now, the art's funny, but the power level is not there. But the fun factor is you can play this in a deck where you sacrifice lands like a Gitrog monster and get some value out of it. The only problem is that it's 1 card out of 99, and this 1 card has to come into play when your Gitrog monster is out. There are other cards that let you sacrifice an unlimited amount of land as whenever you want as well. So I don't think this card is an exact amazing build around. It's just something interesting, but it's now above $100, at least in the average. The market is obviously sitting at 23. I don't think it's worth that either. Veteran Bodyguard, total 15 out of 40. Art, Arnie's early days. Yeah, he's pretty buff. So the card is 3 colorless, 2 white, 2/5. Unless Bodyguard is tapped, any damage done to you by unblocked creatures is done to Bodyguard instead. You may not take this damage yourself, though you can prevent it if possible. Good bodyguards are hard to find, mainly because they don't live long. Yeah, I think he can put up a decent fight. I like the mountains in the background as well. Power level is 2, value 1, fun 3. He's sitting at $300. He's just trying to dip back. It's a very, very expensive card. Alpha edition, so this is probably the first card that's not good as a power level, but it's in the Alpha edition, so there's a value in there. Moving on, Belgrane Sangia, total 17 out of 40. Homelands, so it's a 5 colorless, 2 black summon legend. I like the legend. It's a 5/5. So 7 mana for a 5/5. 1 colorless, 2 black, gains Forest Walk and -3, -0 until end of turn. Not exactly the most impressive card in any way. I like the wolves in the art. I like the 2 people. I like the loner idea. I like the sword he's holding. There's a mountain in the background. The art wins it for me. I got the power level as 3 because for 7 mana as a 5/5, it's not bad. And the fact that he's a legend kind of makes it a bit more interesting. His value is 4 and fun is 3. There's not really much you can do with it. He hasn't spiked, but I'll probably eat my words when I look at it now. This was done yesterday. Anyways, interesting, but let's move on. Typhoon, total 15 out of 40. Typhoon is 2 colorless, 1 green, sorcery. Typhoon does 1 damage to each opponent for each island he or she controls. Power level is 3, value 2, art 7. Looks pretty hilarious. I like the boat at the edge of the wave. Fun 3. Boring card, spiked up to 40. Oh, God. I can't even tell people not to buy it because I don't know what the values of these things are anymore. Moving on. Sulium's Legacy. I've said that wrong many times. Total 14 out of 40. Visions. It is a red-white enchantment. When the legacy comes into play, bury all Djinns and Efrits. Whenever a Djinn or Efrit comes into play, bury it. It's a limited card. The value is losing it because of how it's peaking right now. But I said power level 2, value 2, art 7, fun 3. Art does look kind of cool. Last 3, Sawback Mantico, total 15 out of 40. Sawback Mantico is 3 colorless, 1 white, 3 colorless, 1 red, 1 green. Pay 4, flying until end of turn. Pay 1, Sawback Mantico deals 2 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Use this ability once each turn and only if Sawback Mantico is attacking or blocking. 2/4. Not that powerful. I've given it the art I like because of how many things are happening in it, but the power is bad. The value is bad because it's starting to spike again. The fun is limited. I don't think it's a good card. There are so many limitations to a card like this. So, moving on. Rogue Sky Captain, total 20 out of 40. That's actually kind of high, isn't it? So Rogue Sky Captain is 2 colorless, 1 red. Flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a wage counter on Rogue Sky Captain. During your upkeep, pay 2 for each wage counter on Rogue Sky Captain. Or remove all wage counters from the captain and target opponent gains control of captain instead. I actually like this card for fun, but let's go through the list. Power is 3, value is 4, art is 8 because of the mountainscape and the river and the greenery. I like the behind. The falcon actually looks pretty cool as well. Fun is 5. So the reason for this is because I was thinking about how it'll go in decks where you want your opponents to have your stuff. Especially if they're not going to attack you after because you're giving them cool things to use against other people. They might catch on pretty soon that you're getting better benefits from this, but I think that it might work in like, is it Zedri? The goat face guy or girl? Yeah, so you hold on to this for 1 turn, you pass it again to someone straight away, and then it's up to them to keep it, and then I guess you can always gain control of it whenever you need to, or they have to pay the cumulative upkeep as well. It's a bit complicated, but I guess everyone gets a swing with it. Anyways, seems like an interesting card. Moving on. Rainbow Veil, total 18 out of 40. Rainbow Veil is land, tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Control of Rainbow Veil passes to an opponent at the end of turn. Where we were just talking about passing a card to another person, opponent, for a benefit. So here's another one. So power level 4, because you get the benefit when it comes in. It circles around the table and will be used on your turn. Value to art 7. It looks really nice. It really does. Looks very peaceful. Mountains. Like a Bob Ross painting. I actually got that pack as well. I'm looking forward to them coming in. Fun 5 because of the fact that it's got that very specific but fun element to it. You're not going to find this kind of stuff very easily. It is value 2 because of the fact that it's coming down from its peak of like $17, $18 on the average and coming down slowly, but I can see it bouncing again in the market value. Last one for today, Nameless Race. Total 15 out of 40 from the dark. Nameless Race is 3 colorless, 1 black. Trample. Pay X life when bringing Nameless Race into play. Effect that prevents or redirects damage may not be used to counter this loss of life. When Nameless Race is brought into play, X may not be greater than the total number of white cards in all opponents have in play and in their graveyard. Very interesting. I actually think that the fun factor is in here, especially if you're in a life gain black-white deck. It's going to be a balancing act to do that kind of stuff, but you know, you might be able to get away with it. Power level 3, value 3, because of the fact that it's sitting at around about $10 right now. Might even be even more soon. Art 4, it kind of reminds me of like, what is it, Avatar? What the guy that's got his face burnt. I actually didn't think about it. Maybe I should rate it a bit higher now. But a fun 5 just because it's what the flexibility is with this card and what you can do with it. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll leave it at that. I'm going to try to cover both sets in different ways, and maybe I'll create a playlist to separate them out. But this one is meant to be a faster way to cover them with more details on the power, value, art, and fun. The other one is the first time I look at it, and I'll talk through it and be a bit slower. Anyways, thanks for watching, and have a good one. Take care.